Hi, this is Arek Skuza, and welcome again in Artificial Intelligence and Product Strategy podcast. In this episode, I would like to focus on strategies. In fact, I'm thinking about recording more episodes exclusively about strategies in monetizing mm, data, monetizing products, and monetizing information. So most of the next episodes I'm going in the next episodes I'm going to cover this kind of topics. Today I would like to answer a question: what is a data monetization strategy? So data monetization, it's there are many definitions, obviously, but one of the most important and more interesting, according to me, is the following one. Data monetization converts intangible value of data into real value. I would like to focus here on two elements. First one is intangible value, like for instance, traffic or information coming from sensors. Rolls-Royce is one of the well-known companies for productizing for servicizing their products. Instead of selling jet engines, they sell jet engines with additional services. Like sensors in Rolls-Royce engines can transmit a lot of information and give the insight about fuel consumption, and that insight can be a very useful indicator for the flying style, which will eventually give instructions to jet pilots. So intangible value, that's one element of this definition. The second element of this definition is real value. How we can actually define real value. Real value, and I am a strategy person, so I like to put things into the buckets to make them understandable. So we have, generally speaking, two buckets when it comes to real value definition. First bucket, it's called monetary. When we directly convert intangible assets to monetary. So one of the best example, pretty simple one, is when you're selling your data. For instance, I might be a BMW and I know and understand what kind of music people are listening during while driving the BMW car. I might take this data, wrap them up in a packages and sell them to Spotify. That would be a direct monetization of of intangible value, in this case data, and that will be a monetary example, monetary bucket, when data is directly converted to money. Another example could be Office Max, Office Depot in the United States. Office Depot is it used to buy. I don't know if they still doing this, but used to buy IP addresses packages to determine how close or how far away the specific clusters of customers are from Office Max, their competitors. If they could buy a set of IP addresses that are close to Office Max, Office Depot will target these users with better bargains, with better discounts than those IP addresses which are more far away from Office Max. So that will be a direct way of monetizing value, intangible value, which I called monetary bucket. The second bucket, it's called process efficiency and product improvement. The second bucket exists when data is directly used for process efficiency or product improvement. For instance, when it comes to process efficiency, we can think about Amazon. Amazon used to optimize the trucks deliveries based on data from customers. For instance, if we have a neighborhood with houses and there are two orders coming from the same section of the neighborhood, instead of sending with two trucks, Amazon would like to consider sending one truck. It might sound simple in the beginning, why sending two trucks, why we can send a one truck, but to determine what is the closest location that the algorithm should decide sending one truck or two trucks, it's actually a complex issue. So process efficiency can be based on intangible value, and that's indirect monetization of data. Eventually, Amazon will save money on sending trucks. We are talking about fuel consumption. We're talking about man hours work. We're talking about accidents. We're talking about insurance. So less trucks will influence lower costs, but at the same time, the quality of delivery needs to stay within the same time frame, which in Amazon is mostly at 24 hours if somebody's using Amazon Prime. The second thing in the indirect value is product improvement. Mobile applications are the great examples. If we are using Uber and Uber understands our behavior pattern, it can improve the application a lot. And one of the most precise example I could quote here is something what happened during a pandemic. Amazon immediately, Uber immediately implemented face recognition technology to check whether the Uber driver is wearing a mask. That technology was implemented as the answer to current market conditions, where in specific locations, face masks were mandatory. So that's product improvement based on data, and depends on how the technology needs to evolve to recognize different faces with mask requirements, with mask on those faces. That's how the technology evolved and eventually became important. Another example are Uber in-car cameras that can recognize aggressive behavior inside the car. That's also an improvement that was implemented and is continuously being developed and improved based on the real data access. So let me get back to the definition. Converts intangible value of data into real value. And we can define real value as a monetary, direct monetization, or indirect monetization, which is process efficiency and product improvement. So direct value, indirect value. And then process efficiency and product improvement can be split into three buckets: reduced cost, which I shared the example of Amazon, increased market share, and retention. So by market share is pretty straightforward. We make the application better to get a better market share. And a good example is, for instance, Microsoft or Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola wants to get higher market share by constantly developing new brands, introducing new beverages. Another great example could be Airbnb, which developed experience during pandemic. Market share was threatened by local conditions, so Airbnb developed new service called experiences. We couldn't get out of the home during a pandemic, but we could together participate the virtual experiences. And retention. Retention is a very important factor in especially subscription-based business. We want people, companies want people to get back and use the service again. And the Rolls-Royce example I have shared before, it's a good example of that. Instead of selling only jet engines, the company decided to sell jet engines with the products on top of that. And that products are digital products, digital services also that help the airplane manufacturers and airplane operators to make smarter decisions. And one of them is it's this fuel consumption insight, which helps with retention. How it's helped with retention is pretty simple. Businesses that want to use that impact, that insight, they need to get back to Rolls-Royce website service, log in and get that data. They use that data frequently, which automatically increase the retention. So those data monetization and real value definition, those real value definitions are pretty important to understand what is data monetization strategy, which is a way an organization chase to use data for quantifiable economic benefits. That's what data strategy is. That's what data monetization strategy is. Thank you so much for being here with me. I hope we will meet in the next episode. Take care. See you later. Bye bye.